DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you're expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, that is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is, we are getting into part 3 of our 3-part mini-series, which you heard the last 2 episodes, which are your false beliefs and false ideas that you have been told or heard or come to believe for whatever reason, or maybe even experienced based on who you have experience with about coaching and how exactly it works and what the purpose of it is. Before we get into that, I want to remind you of 2 things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation text messages. Once we start sending these out again, you'll be getting them directly to your phone. All you got to do is be part of my text community. Just text me at my number, 305-384-6894. Once we start sending those messages out again, everybody who's already in the text community, you'll be getting those straight to your phone. You won't have to do anything. You'll just be getting to your phone. And you'll be able to choose how often you want to get the messages. That'll be up to you once we start sending the messages again. So again, if you text right now, you won't get a response from our auto bot. But as soon as we start sending again, the bot will alert you. So just text me now so you already have it taken care of. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. That's the place where we do all of our coaching. If you would like to work with me directly and have me as your direct coach, all you got to do is go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can see everything that we're doing. You can see how things are working, who we're working with, what our program is about, and you can see how you can get started. Again, that's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is down below in the description to this video. That out the way, let's pick up where we left off, which is part 3 of this 3-part series. Part 1 and part 2 were in the previous 2 days. So we're picking up on point number 7. And again, we're talking about your false beliefs, false ideas that you have about how coaching works and why it works that way. I'm telling you what the false belief is. I'm gonna tell you why that's a false belief. Then I'm gonna clear it up with the actual truth around that concept. Let's pick it up on point number 7. Today's topic again, false beliefs about coaching. Number 7, coaching replaces personal responsibility. This is not true. When you hire a coach, understand that you are hiring a coach. And what is the purpose of a coach? A coach is going to coach you along. They're going to guide and facilitate you from where you are on the journey, from where you are to where you want to go. But it doesn't mean that you stop going on the journey. It doesn't mean that you just stop and then the coach picks up where you left off and they do all the work that you didn't do. The purpose of coaching is to help you along. So any of you who's played a sport or any of you understands the concept of sports, you understand that athletes have coaches, right? But athletes having coaches does not mean that the athlete doesn't still need to come to trainings, go to practices, and play in the games. Or the athlete still has to do all the stuff. The coach is just facilitating and guiding you along the way of doing the stuff. They're not replacing the fact that you're doing all the stuff. And it's the same thing with any type of business coaching, life coaching, relationship coaching, etc. The coach does not replace you in the equation. They are just helping you along and helping you do better in what you're doing, maybe helping you do it faster, more effectively, more efficiently, more productively, but they're not going to just take your spot and then you just stop doing everything. You go chill and take a nap while the coach is doing all the work. That's not the way that it works. Now, I am touching on this point here because coaching is not there to do it all for you, unless I just said, unless you hire let's say a done for you service. Now, if you hire some type of coach, that's not really coaching. If you hire something that's done for you, then it's not coaching, because coaching is someone helping you, guiding you to do your thing. Now, if you hire someone and say, do all of this in my stead, then that's not coaching. What that is you can just call it a service. It's just a service that's being provided, but it's not. Coaching is a service as well, but that's a different type of service because they're doing everything, you're not doing anything. So in that case, again, we don't call that service. You're hiring a service to do something for you. So you're not being coached. Now, if on the other hand, you're doing any other kind of coaching or you're receiving any other kind of coaching, then you understand that you must actually put in the effort to implement and execute on what you are being coached on. It's not that you just sit back and nothing happens. So just the fact that you have secured the services of a coach is not a guarantee of success until you do the work that the coach is helping or inspiring or instructing you to do. In other words, when you hire a coach, you still have to actually do whatever the coach is suggesting that you do or pushing you to do or angling you to do or directing you to do. You still have to actually do the work. All right. So hiring a coach is not a magic wand that you just wave and all of a sudden you wake up tomorrow like Aladdin and you get 3 wishes and everything is exactly the way you want it to be. Now, if you're willing to execute that quickly, then things will be the way you want it to be. But understand that coaching comes in a package deal that you have to actually execute on what you're being coached to do. In other words, don't hire a coach if you want to keep doing the same stuff you've already been doing. Don't hire a coach if you think you know everything and you don't want to hear anything new. Don't hire a coach if you're expecting everything to be done in your stead rather than you actually doing stuff yourself. So the people who actually get coaching and are good at receiving coaching is a special breed of individual. It is not most people. It's a small percentage of individuals. And these are people who are serious about moving themselves forward, and they understand that they are going to do the movement. They just want to do it more effectively and more efficiently. So they go get some help along the way. And that comes in the form of a coach. If you're the type of person who thinks that hiring a coach means you don't have to do anything, the coach is supposed to do everything, and if the coach is not doing enough of that everything, then you're not feeling how the coach is going, or you may coaching is going, or you get what's the word? Let's say just disaffected with the whole process, then you are really not qualified to be coached. You probably should not utilize your time or your money or your energy or attention or focus on getting coaching, because it's not going to go the way that you're expecting it to go if this is the mindset that you're showing up with in the first place. So I would suggest you just stay away, stay out the game, keep your money, save your time, and just continue to work on things by yourself as you're already doing, which you already know isn't working. But hey, if this is the mindset that you have, nothing else you do is going to work either, because your mindset is the starting point of all change. And you hear me talk about this all the time. You're going to make an adjustment in life. You got to change your mindset before the tools and the behaviors change. If the mindset doesn't change and you do different behaviors, you're still going to get the same result, because your mindset is what's driving the action. All right, it's coloring the action, so to speak. It's like the gas you put in the tank. So you can't put 87 unleaded gas in the tank of a car that usually takes 93 high octane and then wonder why the car is not performing. All right, of course you know why the car is not performing, because you got cheap ass gas in the car. All right, your mindset is the cheap gas, and until you change the gas, then it doesn't matter what kind of car you have. Everybody following what I'm saying here? So when you have secured the services of a coach, again, don't look at the guarantee of success until you've done the work. All right, and always remember that your goals are your goals. You have full ownership of your outcomes and your results. You are the majority stake owner in reaching your goals. Nobody else is responsible for that. So when you have that mentality, then you're about 60% of the way to becoming successful. If you don't have that part, then there's no way you're going to become successful. Or let me not say no way, but the odds are heavily stacked against you. I would suggest you stay out of that bet if you don't have this mindset in place yet. Get the mindset first, then do the actions. Point number 8. We're talking here today about your false beliefs about coaching and why they're false. Number 8, coaching is motivation. Not necessarily. Now, one thing I will say is that it can be. A good coach can help you feel motivated, and you can engage with a coach depending on what they're doing and what the subject is, what you all are working on, and you can feel very motivated in the process. And I'm sure there will be times in the coaching process that you will feel motivated and excited. These are good things to feel. Hopefully you feel that way more often than not. However, the ultimate point of coaching is not just to motivate you. You can get motivated from a post on Instagram, because motivation without foundation leads to frustration. You heard me just talk about that a few days ago. A good coach will be providing you with a foundation to go with that motivation, which leads to outputs that are based in substance, not just hype, not just fluff, and not just excitement. And motivation can often feel like hype, fluff, and excitement because of the coming and going nature of motivation. You can feel really motivated between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, but by 2:15, you're not motivated anymore. And this is the way motivation works. It can come and go in different bursts. It is often inconsistent, and you can't always you can't plan around being motivated, but you can plan around being disciplined. So the purpose of coaching is not just to get you motivated, because again, there's no need for you to get coaching if that's the only thing you're looking for is to get motivated. Because again, a post on Facebook or TikTok can get you motivated, and you don't have to spend any money, and usually takes a lot less time to consume. So the ultimate point of coaching, again, you don't want to be motivated without a foundation, because that leads to, again, frustration and problem. And you want substance. When you're engaging in coaching, you want to be getting substance from your coach and implementing the substance, because if you don't implement it, it doesn't matter that you have it. It's just like if you have food, it doesn't matter if you don't eat it, doesn't matter. All right, so you don't want this hype, fluff, and excitement, because those wear off. So producing results are a thing that sticks to the bones, so to speak. It's the meat and potatoes of what coaching is all about. So the purpose of getting coached is to step up your performance and to produce results. So if you happen to be motivated, great, or you're on the way, so be it. But if you are not motivated at all, yet you can still perform and produce results, that's still success, because you can be not motivated, but follow through with your discipline and you'll produce results. Now, if you have no discipline and you're only depending on motivation, well, you're in a precarious position because you don't know when the motivation is going to show up. And you also don't know how long it's going to last. I wouldn't build a business around that, but I would build a business around discipline with zero motivation. Can't build a business around motivation with zero discipline. It's not going to be sustainable. And point number 9, today's topic, once again, we are talking the false beliefs that you have about coaching. Number 9, coaching is a luxury. It is something that you add on after you have everything else taken care of. You got some extra laying around when it comes to your resources and your finances. Then that's when you go get a coach. I am telling you that this is a false belief. That is not the way it works. Being that I am making this episode in this 3-part mini series, in every episode of the show, I'm making this for our audience of high performing individuals. Those of you who are serious high performers, you know that the way you perform and the way you think about performance and your desire to perform is abnormal and very different than most people. That's who I make this show for. That's who this show is aimed at, is those people who are high performing individuals. You know that you're not the same as everybody else. You know that your results are not the same as everyone else because your mindset and your actions are way different than most of the people around you. That's who I make this show for. So being that you're one of those people, and or you're a person, or let's just say, or you wish to join the ranks of the high performing individuals, all right, in that context, I will tell you, just you, this type of person, coaching is not a luxury for you. Now, the average individual out there who's performing at an average level, they are creating average level returns, and they just have an average level mindset. They have a bunch of average level friends, and they have average expectations of themselves. That individual who makes up the masses of humanity, that person, they can look at coaching as a luxury. For them, it's a luxury because it's something they can get if they ever have any extra, or they just decide that they should maybe give it a shot. For those people, coaching is a luxury. But for you, high level performers, high performing individuals, coaching is not a luxury. It is a requirement. It is an essential. It's something that you absolutely must have in place. So there is no high performing individual out there who you can name who does not get coached. You can't name one. Not a single high performing individual who doesn't get coaching. Why? Because first of all, high performing individuals, as the saying goes, success leaves clues. All right, all high performing individuals have coaches. I know a whole lot of people who are high performers, and whatever way you want to measure it, they all have coaches, whether in the athletic world, whether in the business world, whether in just in their mindset and the way that they think with their associations. All of these people have coaches. And again, success leaves clues. Sometimes you will notice a commonality amongst a bunch of people who have other things that are in common, and they are correlated. All right, they are correlated, and often there's a causation link there, not just a correlation link. So yes, you may see a whole lot of people who are in great shape who live in a town that is sunny and warm, like Los Angeles or Miami. And sometimes that's just a correlation. It's a causation because people live there. They know it's going to be nice outside. They're going to be outside a lot. Often you see people in the gym. All right, you go to the gym somewhere in Miami, there's always a bunch of people in there. All right, that is a causation, not just a correlation. It's both. High level performing people have coaches. They go and invest in continuing to perform at a higher level or getting to perform at a higher level because they understand the value of it. So they look at it as an investment, not an expense. And when you consider something to be a luxury, that's because you're looking at it as an expense, because luxury items are expenditures. I'm going to spend a bunch of money on this car or on this jewelry or on this vacation. Those are expenditures. There's no investment. You're not getting any money back. But things that you look at as investments, regardless of how much they cost, it doesn't matter how much it costs because, it matters because you have to pay it. But in the big picture, it doesn't matter because it's an investment, which means whatever you are putting in, you're getting even more than that on the back end. So that makes it an investment. So this is all in how you're framing things and how you're looking at things. So if you're looking at something as a luxury, again, it's a cost that's never coming back to you. But you look at something as an investment, it's something that you're putting in and you're going to get just as much, hopefully a whole lot more back. So all high performing individuals rather, they all get coached. Find some who aren't. See if you can find any. There aren't any. And for the most part, there aren't any. There may be a handful of exceptions that you can find, but always remember that exceptions prove the rule. They do not disprove the rule. They actually make the rule more solid because you can name the exceptions. Just like if I tell you most basketball players are pretty tall, 6 feet and over, just because you can name a couple who made it, quote unquote, in basketball and they're under 6 feet. The fact that you can name the few who are exceptions is more proof that the rule is the rule. Everybody with me? All right. So when you're doing everything on your own, off your own energy and your own resources, there's only so far that you can go because you don't have every talent, you don't have every skill. You only have two hands, two eyes, one brain. You can only be in one physical place at a time, and you are limited by what you can physically do in the moment, each moment. You're also limited by your own mental capacity and intellectual capacity. And no matter how smart you are not smart enough to do everything that needs to be done in your life all at the same time. This means you can't even focus on everything that needs to happen or should happen all at once because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. On top of the fact that you have a certain set of skills in which you're inclined to do a few things and you do those things really well, that's where all your resources should be headed or should be directed. But if you're trying to do 12 things or 7 things or 19 things, well, you're absolutely not focused on your zones of genius. Most people's zones of genius span between 1 and 3 activities. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Most people's zones of genius span between 1 and 3 activities. For some people, it's just one thing. For some people, it's 2. And you got a few exceptional people who there are 3 things they can do really at a really high level. Very few people have more than 3. I would say if you find a person who has more than 3, then they're like 1 out of 1,000. Most people don't have more than 3. So if you're doing everything for yourself in your business, including the thinking and the insights and the ideation and the implementation, you're doing everything on your own, then most of the things that you're doing, remember the 80-20 principle, most of the things that you're doing, you're not even producing at a high level in those things. You're just doing it because nobody else is going to do it, so you're doing it. I would suggest you get out of that game. I would suggest you stop running that race because even if you win it, that's the rat race. Even if you win it, you're still a rat. There are only so many different angles from which one individual can see. And there's only so much that any one individual can do. So when you employ the insights and the brains and the experience and the knowledge of other people, now you put yourself in a position to multiply your outputs rather than trying to do everything by yourself. That's the whole point of getting coaching. That's one way that you can start utilizing the brains and insights of other people rather than trying to do everything by yourself when you are not physically capable of doing everything by yourself, regardless of how hard you try to work. So with all that said, let's recap today's class. This is part 3 of our 3-part mini-series on things, the false beliefs that you believe about coaching. Number 7, coaching replaces personal responsibility. Absolutely not. All right, so coaching is not there to do it all for you unless you happen to hire a done-for-you service, at which point you're not hiring coaching. The point of coaching is to help you reach your goals, and the coaching is a facilitator. It is a guide along the way. It is not a replacement for you actually doing the work. Think of your favorite pro athlete. They all have coaches, yet the coaches don't play the games for them. They still got to do the push-ups and do the workouts and playing the games. Number 8, coaching is motivation. It can be, and I'm sure there will be times in a coaching process when you do feel motivated, but the purpose of coaching is not to get motivated because motivation comes and goes and is not dependable. You can't build a business around motivation unless you happen to be a motivational speaker, I guess, then your business is built around motivation. But when it comes to your behavior cannot be based around just motivation because motivation is inconsistent. Discipline is much more consistent. You can be disciplined with no motivation and be successful. You cannot be motivated with no discipline and be successful. Impossible. Number 9, coaching is a luxury. It is not. If you're a high-performing individual, which I'm assuming you are because that's who the show is targeted at, high-performing individuals do not look at investing in themselves as a luxury. You're looking at an investment in yourself as a luxury item. That's exactly the reason why you are not a high-performing person. Until you change that mindset, you will stay in the space that you're in. And if you never change it, you will remain and you will die in the spaces you're in. Now, if you want to make a change, I just told you what the change is. You have to look at coaching as an essential, as something that is required in your life because it's going to help you be the best version of you, which is required because you're a high-performing person. But if you don't see things that way, you are free to do so. Just understand, number 1, the material that I'm making here on this show is not really directed at you. And number 2, if you are looking at it as a luxury item, the problem is if you take care of all your necessities and now there's no resources left for the luxury, well, you'll never get to it. And that's a problem because you'll never maximize yourself. This means you're going to leave potential on the table when you die. This means you're taking most of your value to the graveyard, most valuable real estate on the planet. All that said, text me so you're in my community. My number is 305-384-6894. The number's down below in the description. Also, workonyourgameuniversity.com. That's the place you can get with me directly as a coach. You can see our program based around mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. That's all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all